Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Getting With the Program, talking about episode 9 of My Hero Academia. Yeah, just do your best, Ida. I am your ever-friendly Pokeprof, joined once again by Kitty Kross
Whoop whoop.
and Ashen Sky.
Insert witty one-liner here.
Oh my goodness. So this is actually a bit of an odd episode, if I have to fully admit, simply because it is kind of split into two distinct story elements. We have the first story element where all the students in the class are basically being told, hey, we need a class representative, well, basically a class president, and they all have to vote for it. And apparently one of the major things about this world and this school is the fact that a student who is in that position is considered to be like further along in heroing than the others, because it shows like good leadership skills and stuff like that. And so everyone is actually voting for themselves, but 3 people vote for Deku, with Deku himself voting for himself, and then Uraka and Ida voting for him as well. But through a development in the story, we eventually have Ida basically calming everyone down when they're panicking because someone had a whole bunch of paparazzi had basically broke into the school, though we later learn that apparently a villain somehow was able to let them in, which is what caused some concern among the teachers in the first place. But because of Ida taking charge of the situation, he's made president by Deku.
Also gaining himself the nickname Emergency Exit.
Yes, because the way he slammed against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when everybody was panicking about the break-in, Ida tried to take charge and calm everybody down. But in order to do so, they were all stuck in the crowd. So he had Uraraka lift him up with the gravity power and then rocketed himself over everybody towards the exit, but ended up slamming against the wall above the exit. And then one of the others commented later that he looked like the character on the exit side. So that's why they start calling him Emergency Exit.
So what you're saying, Kitty, is she lift him up so he can talk on doorways?
Really? Really?
I got nothing for that. I'm sorry. I'm just
I
like,
think it
wow.
went way over her head. So how about you explain that, Ash?
No, I get it.
Oh, you do?
But still.
My mind works in mysterious ways, Kitty.
Clearly.
Your mind works in screwed up ways.
But yeah, that was actually just the first half. It's like you would feel a plot like that would actually take up the entire episode, but it didn't. That was just the first half of the episode. The second half of the episode is essentially the students being told that they're going to be going into rescue training, because we already had like a quirk assessment test. Then we had a battle test to see how well the people can fight against each other and how well they can team up with their teammates. And now they're going to go into this special area where it's all about them learning how to use their quirks to rescue. And they also introduce who's one of the new teacher into the story, who is, just by the way she acts and how she details what's going on with their powers, has made me a fan of hers. Her character name is 13.
Which I think is supposed to be an Apollo 13 reference.
Because
she's wearing a spacesuit.
Yeah. And she's even dubbed as the space hero. And her power is literally making black holes. And she flat out details to all the students, is like, hey, you know what my power is, right? And they're like, yeah, no, it's so awesome. It's like, yes, it's a very strong power, but it's a power that can also kill, which, yeah, it's a black hole. It's kind of super dangerous.
Spaghettification.
Mm-hmm. But she flats out goes and says that, hey, it's like, with what you've gone through so far, you guys should know that you have certain limits to your power, but you should also know that you have powers that could be used for deadly things.
She's basically telling them that their there's two sides to their power. Even though they're very powerful and can do great things, they can also do great harm. Like just like she illustrated, her power can be used to help people, but can also be used to kill. So in this training, they're going to be learning not how to fight or how to blow things up or destroy things. They're going to learn how to just use their powers to help people.
And then she also has like this huge training center that has like closed off areas for like a shipwreck, a collapsed building, fire, tornado stuff, all that, all in their own little closed areas for the students to go train in. And apparently that's just like the Universal
Studios Japan. They even call it USJ because it means something different, but still all the kids were like, just like Universal Studios Japan.
I think for most Americans that kind of just flew over their head. But they don't even get to start to rescue or do anything before the villains appear. And not just like the few villains that we saw at the end of the last episode. We're talking at least a good 30 to 40 villains.
Yeah, I was amazed to see just how many came through that portal.
And that's just what we saw at the end.
Oh, God, yes. But we at least also got to see Mr. Handy. You know, Mr. Guy covered all in hands. And I'm going to say we also saw, what was his face?
Lizard Brain.
Yeah, we saw Lizard Brain. And I'm going to say the person who actually popped them in there in the first place was Nega Grilby, as we've dubbed him in a previous episode, because it kind of looks like his face popped up for a second before this huge wave of blackness appeared and the villains started walking through it. So we still don't really have a sense of who they are, what their powers are, or anything like that. But we do know that Eraserhead, their teacher, is definitely taking this seriously enough to where he's actually told 13, hey, protect the other students. This is serious. We need to get them out of here and get them safe. Which, to be entirely honest, if there's anyone who should be going and fighting off the villains, I would think it would be 13 and not him. It's like he's got a really good quirk, not denying, but I think in terms of actually being able to do anything against a huge amount of villains, it would be 13. She's got a really big AoE type power.
Yeah.
But then
it was interesting because when that whole thing started and that portal showed up, I thought that was her at first.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a black hole at first, but then you clearly see it's got non-black hole properties, so... But it makes it really interesting considering the fact that in a lot of other shows when it comes to the villains, I'm used to them actually having a little bit more focus. I'm used to us being able to be exposed to the villains and learning a bit more about them and their backstories before we really get to see them come up. But in this show, it's like, nope, here are the villains, get ready for a fight. You know, I think I may just been spoiled with like things like Batman, the animated series and stuff like that, where it's like you have entire episodes just dedicated to some of these villainous characters. So I'm not sure if that's going to work to My Hero's benefit or detriment. We'll just have to see. Anything else that we want to cover? Because that was pretty much the synopsis of the entire episode.
I think that's pretty much it, to be honest.
To be fair, it was a pretty cut and dry episode. Not much character development for anyone. The only real interesting things backstory wise, we got to learn the fact that Ida's family is filthy stinking rich.
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier.
And
well, it's not necessarily that they're stinking rich, but he comes from a long line of heroes.
Yeah. Now,
one of his more well-known, one of the more well-known heroes that even Deku knows about is apparently his older brother, and he very much looks up to his older brother.
Yeah. Now, that actually makes me think of something, because it's clear that most of Ida's family, by the looks of the design of their outfits and just the name of his brother, which was what was it, Engine or something like that?
I forget.
Sky, I'm asking you
What's
because Sky, pay attention.
Sorry.
Sky, so it's like Ida's brother his hero name was like Engine or something like that, right? Ingenium. Okay, so that makes me question. It's like we've learned previously with that doctor who told Deku that people weren't going to have a bunch of powers. It's like this is what you need to have powers. We learned the fact that most people's powers follow like a bloodline. It's like it's like if Deku had gotten a quirk naturally, he should have either gotten like levitation from his mom or fire breathing from his dad.
Well,
I mean, there's always the chance of evolution.
Also keep in mind, Ida did not state what his brother's quirk was.
Oh, I know, but just by the simple design of the character itself from the one scene we saw, and his name, I'm going to assume the fact that he has something similar to Ida himself, where it's some kind of turbine-like ability in one part of his body. To where it's going to be, he's got the ability to either move fast or it's like he can like rev up his body and have like a more powerful impact or something like that. And that makes me question how much of a character's powers is determined by their parentage. Because we also know for a fact that Mr. Icy Hot, as Sky likes to call him, is like, I believe that is like like I said, this is like the one thing I've been spoiled on, is that I know like his character backstory is about the fact that, his father planned for that. Is that he was like, he wanted to make sure that his son had like this really cool mix of powers, and thus purposely like went for a bloodline that was like that would mix well for him. And was resulted in his son. So I know that's like a character element of Icy Hot.
Mm-hmm.
Icy Hot.
I'm sorry. Until I learn his name better, I'm gonna be going with
Todoroki.
Todoroki and Icy. I call him Icy Hot.
No, I call him Icy Hot.
But my point is I'm just curious on how far that rabbit hole is going to go when it comes to establishing for certain characters. It's like, so does like everyone in Ida's family have that engine power, or is it something that he's having to live up to, or is it something that he's having to deal with that's different from his family? Because for all I know, it's like his father has the engine in his chest, and that makes him being able to go and rev that part of him up versus Ida's legs. But it's just a weird character element that's like, it makes me interested in wanting to know more about these character histories, and I don't know how much of that we're gonna get.
Oh, you'll get plenty.
Well, yeah, I just don't know if the questions I'm asking are going to get answered, especially in the case of... Because it looks like Ida is definitely going to be more of a main character, compared to some of the others. It's like Sue, a.k.a. Froppy, she's clearly a side character. She is not going to be a character that gets a lot of focus. She's kind of there to be more background than anything else. It's like she'll definitely get some attention, but compared to, say, Bakugo or Deku or even Ida so far, she's not going to get anywhere near as much.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me curious about like what we're going to see with the characters and just how much of their backstories we are going to learn.
Mm.
Of course, you would know that better than us, but I don't think you're going to tell us, Sky, are you?
Oh, no. Where would the fun be in that?
The fun would be you talking a little bit more, because you're just kind of like, yeah, Icy Hot, yeah. Am I wrong? I will say, one of the things I got a kick out of it, I'm not sure if it's something that is actually they translated straight over from Japanese, or if it's just something they threw into the dub here. The fact that frickin' Sue went and actually literally said ribbit.
Oh, that's her thing.
So I'm guessing in the Japanese version, she will occasionally like add kero to the end of her sentences. Okay. That seemed like something Japan would do. I was just caught off guard by it. Also, the fact that apparently all the students are making fun of Bakugo.
Bakugo, yeah.
Whereas in normal circumstances, you would feel like everyone would go and make fun of Deku because he's the meek little kid. But I think it's the fact that Deku is actually, upholding the standards of a hero, whereas Bakugo is being clearly more of a villain, which is why people are picking on him.
I think it's more that they're picking on him because he seems so full of himself.
Well, that too.
He's an easy target with his obnoxious pride.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the Prince of Explosions, as you've dubbed him last time, Sky.
Prince of all firecrackers.
The Prince of all firecrackers. It's definitely a fitting name for him. It allows us to transition from being pure Vegeta to being an explosion
Tsundere.
Vegeta. Yeah. Other than that, though, they actually gave one of the other characters who we don't really know all that well a little bit more screen time. We got to see the fact that he can like harden his hands, and he was complaining about it not being a flashy power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see too much more of him other than that, but it makes me it's like well, I don't see what's really all that interesting about his power. It looks like he used the sharpen attack from Pokemon. Whereas like
actually it almost looks more like it looks reminiscent of the ultimate shield from Full Metal Alchemist.
We'll have to see. I don't know. They really didn't go too far into that. But other than that, there really wasn't all that much to this episode. It was
lead up to the next episode.
Yeah, it was build up. That's really what it was. There were some good elements here and there, a few interesting little character bits, but very cut and dry otherwise. And honestly, I think that's all I got to say on it. What about you guys?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we got to see how they deal with the villains in the next one.
Oh, yes, I'm really excited for that. So we're going to go ahead and watch that. And until next time, y'all, stay frosty.
Later.
Have a good one.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your ever-friendly Pokeprof, and I wanted to thank you for watching yet another episode of Getting With The Program. If you got any suggestions on how to make the show better, or you're just wanting to say hi, leave a comment below. If you also like and subscribe, that will definitely help us out on the channel. Also be sure to check out the upcoming episode of Fascinating Fiction, a solo series in which I'm wanting to do a little bit more scripted content. You can also follow both me and Kitty, and I believe also Sky as well, on social media, mostly Twitter, and as well as when we stream on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays over on Twitch, where we mostly just play games that I've never played before and goof around. Hope to see you guys there, but until then, stay frosty.